So, and I would therefore like to introduce you to none other than Dr. Shelley Cameron. And if there's one thing I've always admired her for, is that disarming smile. So, Dr. Cameron, welcome to the SosoBone Media Network.
It's a pleasure to be here with a smile.
Now, you know, your occupation, I'm not going to call it a profession. I like to call it occupation because people live what they do, you know. They take it home with them and they go to bed with it at night. Okay?
Right. Tell me about that.
So, how would you describe, therefore, what you do to change our world? Because I do not know if I can actually put it as succinctly as you might want to put it.
So what I do,
Yeah.
as you're quite well asking, I'm a leadership coach.
Uh-huh.
And been doing that for many, many years, working with a major international pharmaceutical company. And I found that people would just come to me as they reach to certain transition areas in their life. So as they transition, and I saw the pattern, like after 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, these persons who were way back when are reaching out to me. So when I saw that pattern, I decided, okay, why not get myself certified in it? Because you have everybody outside is calling themselves coach. So I wanted to distinguish myself from everybody else. I know I do have a doctorate in organizational leadership, and I love personal growth based on my research on success and leadership. But still, I wanted to know what is the right way, not just what Shelley Cameron does, but what is actually the right way. So I got a certification in as a master coach with the International Coaching Federation, ICF. So I've been going through that to keep myself abreast of what is happening out there with individuals as they transition.
Well, I've seen you on LinkedIn as a superstar on LinkedIn.
Oh my God. Superstar.
Okay, so I know that at a certain point in time, I had to come to you to ask you to come to the rescue of our community.
Uh,
And I say rescue because I look at our young people. And I say that because I have some of them in my life who have gone to college. And you know what we have done over the years, we work 3 or 4 jobs to get them into college so that they can move to the next rung of the ladder.
right.
And when they graduate high school, we have the high school graduation parties for them because they just finished one rung and they're going to college and they celebrate and yes, when they move out for college, we breathe a sigh of relief and say, please let them succeed so they don't have to move back inside. Okay.
I get that.
Okay. But sometimes they move back inside.
Of course, especially with the economy as it is now, they are coming back.
So my question is, how do you suggest that we approach this segment of our community to advise them as to how to adopt now so they can move forward? Because mentorship has always been mentioned, but we know that when it comes to that, you'll have 1 out of every 100 who is able to identify a mentor. So how do we address our young people in that sense from your point of view?
I think it's basically based on walking the talk and opening their eyes, showing them exactly what they need to do as a next step. If you're thinking of the high school graduate, coaching the high school graduate, the one who is going to graduate shortly to go into college, that's a completely different thing because it's going to require discipline. A lot of them fail during the first year. Not fail as in drop out, but fail. They make mistakes. They do all kind of stuff because guess what? The parents are not around them anymore. So they have freedom and they go through and they make mistakes. So that's the high school that you have to prepare them about the seriousness of entering college. Then it's also the college students who are also there and when you get to that senior level where now they're going to look at stepping out, actually, they should not be entering college without knowing where they're going to go, because college costs money.
Yes.
And if you don't know where you're going to go, any road will take you there. That's one thing that I've always said. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, because you're going to be swinging in left, right, and center, and you're going to end up maybe in the wrong area. A lot of persons also, college students, go and they enroll in college studies because their parents were doctors, lawyers, and all of those kind of things. Or they have another set who may enroll in a program that has nothing to do with what they really, their heart, what they want to do, and the passion. So this is, there's a lot of working with them and coaching them on it. I do some work with the twofold. I do some work with CARICOM, who usually ask me to do mentorship program. I've been doing it for a little while now with them, for a few cohorts over the years. And then I also, as you know, this is how I met with you, through the Institute of Caribbean Studies in Washington,
Yes.
D.C. And we do the 30 under 30 emerging leaders program, where we look at those who are really outstanding in the marketplace. So those are not the typical ones. These are doing a lot. Sometimes you have some who come in and they're not at the level that they should be. And then
Uh-huh.
that's where the coaching comes in. So you see them, they're richly hungry and passionate about going different directions. So as I mentioned, all of these different categories, you can see the different types of coaching that would be required of
Uh-huh.
these persons.
Okay.
Um,
Now, if some of my friends were here, they would have been saying, preach, sister, preach.
oh, no, preach.
Because, what you're talking about is something that is just embedded in our community.
Right, right, right,
Okay. I
right,
mean, you can see the excitement and the aspirations in the early years that,
right, right,
and
right,
then down the road, you can see the shoulders, the drooping shoulders,
right,
you know,
right, right,
and
right,
they complain about the dead-end jobs,
right, right,
and
right,
it's like their dreams have been shattered,
right,
you know.
right, right.
And so having coaches is not something that was always present in our community.
Oh,
Okay. I mean, some people do not understand that they even exist.
right, right, right,
Okay.
right,
I mean, a business will bring in consultants
right,
and they call them consultants,
right.
where in effect, it translates to coming in and coach your people.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Okay. So I just want to make that connection with them that a consultant, a personal consultant is your coach. Okay.
Yeah, depending on what they're consulting on.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
an IT person who's consulting with an organization may not be coaching them.
Yes, but in an ideal situation, when an IT person comes in and to do something, they should not have to come back. They should actually
Exactly,
they should
right,
actually be showing all the things
right,
to the
right, right,
content.
right,
Okay, they are not
right,
mechanics where every time your car
right,
breaks, they drop it off and come back when it's finished.
right,
Okay,
right,
but nevertheless, in your situation, when you're finished with your candidates or your
yeah,
students or your patients, whichever
right,
category we classify in, we like to say that when we're finished with them and we send them on their way, they leave better,
of course.
and that better is supposed to get from, well, they leave good. And
And
from
it's a-
and from good, it is supposed to get a better and get a better best. Okay.
I get you. I get you. So I do a lot of organizational coaching as well with individuals. So companies may ask me to come in and I do different assessments with the managers who are leaders. One that I always like to jump on and speak a little bit deeper about is they're going through stuff, right? I do talk about transition. So it's transition coaching. And what you find is the organization is going through transition. And guess what they do? If somebody leaves, they find next best person who is task
Yes.
oriented and they promote them into that position. But guess what?
Uh-huh.
they're not ready. They have no leadership skills. They have nothing. They can't supervise employees. They can't do anything. They don't know how to talk to people and all of that. They do not walk the talk. They don't know all of those things. So what you
Mhm.
find is failure. And then when they start sinking, then you see they start looking, where can I get the training? And they don't want their manager to know that they're sinking, but the manager might see the signs. So this
Yes.
is where I usually come in and see with talk with them, to share with them. A lot of the coaching is done privately. A lot of secret coaching I do, because these persons come and they share all of their thoughts, their feelings, their incapacities with
Uh-huh.
me, and then we're able to, in a secure, confidential environment, we're able to get at their deeper thoughts. Look at situations that is happening in the organization. How do you
Mhm.
bridge the gap there? Is it that you need technical training on an area, or is it that you just need to be taught how to do certain things? And the good thing about me is that I come with a background of human resource management. And at that level, no, human resource management is an important field. But what
Uh-huh.
you find is that not all leaders, HR leaders, really do care about people. On the other hand, my success was because I genuinely cared about people. So managers would come and they would confide and share their all the things going through their minds with me. And then they were tasked with going to the manager now, their
Oh, yeah.
leader, their head, to teach
and
them how to do it.
and you have to go and shrink their head because their head is just too big for their hats.
You have a way of saying stuff.
Listen, as I said, I've lived it. I've passed through those
Right,
worlds.
right, right, right,
Okay.
right, right,
You
right,
know, and what our people need is to understand that we recognize what the situation
right,
is.
right,
Because
right.
sometimes they think that they are in the shadows and we do not understand where they are, that we have never, that we have not walked in their shoes.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly,
But
exactly.
when they realize that someone has gone down the road and they see footprints to follow,
Mm-hmm.
that is
Mm-hmm.
when they will tell you that when I ask the question, so who was your mentor? They will say, oh, yes, this
Right,
person,
right,
because this
right,
person left footprints and
right,
visible footprints for them to follow.
right,
Or
right,
even if they might be leaving a job, they are preparing someone
right,
to
right,
take over the position.
right, right,
Okay.
right.
Because I have had those type of coaching being brought into companies where I am. We call them consultants or we call them
Mm-hmm.
sales managers who comes in to do sales training for
Mm-hmm.
people who does not understand how to conduct themselves,
Mm-hmm.
okay, when they go
Mm-hmm.
outside. And it's right across the board
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
someone will ask the question, why did they hire a new person when I've been here doing the job for the last 10 years?
Right, right,
But
right.
they never expressed and never showed that they were ready or qualified for the job. In other
Well,
words,
well, in organizations these days, what the rules and regulations stipulate is that um, you actually advertise from within. So if people are there, but even when you do advertise from within, you find sometimes the persons technically who are not technically ready for the
yes.
position, they are the ones who apply. The ones who are actually coachable may be so afraid that they do not apply. So you end up with the ones who are more like outgoing personalities
All
and they're
right.
not ready for it. And then they end up failing when they get the position because they are, what did you call it again? You have to get them, their head,
Solid,
them up.
solid. And not only that, people, I mean, they will complain that there are persons who, they say, oh, they kiss up to the boss.
Mm-hmm,
So they always
mm-hmm,
seems to be
mm-hmm.
in the
Right,
headlights.
right, right, right,
So that is the person that the boss or the management mentions or recognize or every time
right, right,
when the board comes and they see, oh, how are you? And they're doing all the
right,
duties of board
right,
members. Oh, I am in HR and all of the
right, right, right.
and they're always
Seen.
interviewing for the next open position.
Right, right, right. So I mean, it's also important for that the ones who are a little bit shy or a little in the background or, to show themselves as well. And how do you
Yes.
show yourself? you have things like performance appraisals, performance
Yes.
plans that they have to do. Then you have to, if your manager is not going to do it, because sometimes the managers themselves don't know how to do it properly as well. So you have to share the successes that you've had. You have to show it. Sometimes it's sad for us to say it, but sometimes managers will even take the credit for what a worker has done.
All that happens regularly.
Right. It's sad to say it, but
Okay.
that's what happens. So it has to be now that coaching shows there's those, what do you call them now? Those leaders that have great potential, how to
Mhm.
take charge of what they're doing. Not that they're going to become swell-headed, as you had mentioned, but just to be able to step out and stand up and say, okay, this is what I did. And those things are also reflected on the resume, because would you believe the amount of persons who do not have achievements listed on their resume? What most persons that I've come across, what they have are their resume has like a job description.
Education.
No, job description.
Job
They
description.
copy it from what the job is and drop it in there. But what difference did you make? What kind of impact did you make to the
Yes.
company? You've been in the company for many years, and where did you go? It's not listed there. It's not, no difference was made per the resume when you look at it. So of course it's just set aside. Not to mention the algorithm now that is picking out which resume to pull and which resume is not
Oh,
to pull in
yes.
the HRIS systems.
Especially if you fill it out online.
Yes, of course, right. That's the systems. We're just gonna pull them, and then AI is in our life.
Yeah, I was looking for the hashtags, okay?
Yeah.
And this one have 10
Keyword,
out.
keyword, keyword, keyword.
Yes, yes, keyword. And this one have 10 keywords. This one have 9. This one have 3. The 3 goes out the window. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I do. I work a lot with those career persons who want to go after careers, the next level. And what does their resume look like, right? And then you have the other set that are have not looked at their resume for a while. And as I said, they have a job description on their resume. So I look at those, and then of course the next step is to work with them on how to manage like an interview. Because if you have the resume that way, but you don't know how to articulate it, then that's also a problem as well. So it's a whole package. It's a
Yes.
whole package.
No, I have also have complaints from managers when I speak to them about how they evaluate your people.
Wow.
And performance review supposed to be is supposed to be key. But leadership qualities comes into the picture. And sometimes the areas where people are positioned does not allow them to show the type of leadership qualities that they're looking for. Okay?
Mhm, mhm,
Because somebody might be just not an office gossiper and therefore does not seem to be the friendly person on the floor, which everybody is always happy to see and say hi, how you do, and they sit and they talk a little bit and all of that. And in the and sometime in that context, waste so much time.
right,
You
right,
know,
right, right,
waste so much
right,
employee
right, right,
time
right,
versus somebody who's dedicated to the protocol of the office and what the office environment should be like.
right,
Now, how do you attract persons to seek help outside of the office environment, outside of what the company is going to be paying for,
right,
where they can now self-evaluate and
right,
decide that they would like to get some private help
right, right,
on the side, even as they to do their job better.
right. So it depends. It happens in different ways. So with the organization,
Mhm.
you sometimes have what you call the group coaching,
Okay.
and you have the group coaching session, or you may have a training session, and
Uh-huh.
then you are able to, as a coach, you're able to identify the ones with promise or the ones with high potential,
Mhm.
and that can be highlighted to the organization that this
Mhm.
person might need some one-on-one coaching and not coaching from their manager, because their manager or their leader at the head
Mhm.
may not be able to coach them. On the other hand, you might find that the employee might come to the side and reach out to you, take your card or whatever, reach out to you
Yes, yes.
separately. And that's where they are able to say, hey, I heard you in that meeting, that training session, and I know that I'm in this area and I need some training and development in this particular area. Would you be willing to work with me? Because there's a position, take it a step further, because there's a position that is coming up and I'd like to go after it in a few months or a year. So you take that time to work with them and
Mm.
bring them up to that level that they need to be at in order to apply for that position.
I am so glad you said that because I wanted them to understand that that was okay.
Right, it is.
You know, that was okay. I was looking at some video a couple of days ago of a interview process that was it job fair.
Yes,
It was in
definitely.
Brooklyn.
Yes,
And, so I would look at some posts, among other things, we had political representatives there just to be show their face.
right,
And
right,
I'm looking at people who are sitting behind the desk,
right.
how they are dressed.
Yes.
I'm looking at people who are come, okay,
You
and I'm
had to go there, right?
yes, and I'm looking at people now who are coming in to be interviewed,
Yes,
how they are dressed.
yes.
And my question is, should there be a universal dress code when we talk about job sphere? So no one comes in and feels when they're sitting down in a room or with five persons who are looking to present their resumes and they're evaluating each other. This one is in a suit, this in a suit, she's in a suit, and let's pretty much start devaluing themselves based on what they see across the frontier. It's like peer pressure.
Mm-hmm,
Okay,
mm-hmm,
kids go to school and everybody else get dropped off at school and they walk to school. Everybody else, their parents drives them to school, and on their way to school, they get passed along the road because they're walking to school. And the pressure is there on the child, but it is not visible
mm-hmm,
because peer pressure is always there. How
mm-hmm.
do you how do you motivate them or assist them in dealing with that type of peer pressure that they might have?
Again, it starts with a one-on-one, deeper coaching with them. In some, it depends on the level. Some could be coaching as well as mentorship as well.
Okay.
The mentorship is more telling them and giving them advice and so on, whereas the coaching is really more working with them to bring out what is inside of them. So if are you feeling that level of inferior,
Yes.
where it's an inferiority complex that you end up having because you're looking at the others who are dressed in suit, and quite frankly, you don't have the means to get a suit. But of
Right.
course, if you're going to a job fair, you don't necessarily need to dress in a suit. You just need to dress, depending on the type of fair, you need to just dress in a proper shirt
Mhm.
and a proper pants and all of that, with belts tucked in, not with the pants hanging down, that you have to be pulling it up every minute. Again, it depends on the role, but people see you based on how you present yourself. So they have to understand what they need to do. A lot of job fairs now have written on it, dress how you should dress, right?
Yes.
They usually suggest how you should dress. Sometimes people don't read the fine print, or sometimes people don't know how to, so they just come anyway. And sometimes they're skilled, but because you can't see them beyond how they present themselves, here uncombed, and all of those things, then they get passed by. If the recruiter does not have the time to listen to them and understand that this is a deeper person and that they
Mhm.
have the skills available, inherent skills, but it's not evident because of how they are present themselves externally.
Definitely. I'm glad you said that because I saw skin tights, for example, at some of these job fairs, and I know that the candidate does not think that they're out of place. Okay.
Right, right,
Because
right,
environment has a lot to do with the way they perceive
right, right,
themselves.
right, right. That's what
And
I was just about to say. So sometimes it's the culture,
Yeah.
And it depends also on the generational gaps that we have now, because if you do have the millennials, Gen Zs, and all, they all present themselves differently. And if you're to tell them without telling them enough in an official, like a coaching session, then they will not understand why they wouldn't present themselves like you can wear a tights, but then what are you wearing on top of it or over the tights, right? Is it that for the men the butt is showing halfway? Or is
Yeah.
it for the women? Is it that the butt is also showing? And is it that you're presenting yourself like that? And what is the outcome that you're expecting? What type of job are you expecting to receive when you're dressed like that? So it is not to just criticize, but it's really to coach them in to how to be professional, because professionalism comes in all forms. If we're going to, as we know, Coronation Market, you know how to dress to go to Coronation Market, right?
Hmm.
If you're going to a job interview, you know how to dress. If you're going to church, you know how to dress and go into the different areas, right? And you will have people looking at you, and that's when you can, if I know the persons and so on, there's a way to get to them, because you don't want people to again have feel as though they're threatened by, because of what you're saying. And the judgment that comes from others too is a big thing. So sometimes it's a society that creates this inherent pressure for the other ones that are coming up.
Well, when you live in a pure cultural community, like, for example, you live in Jamaica, then you can understand clearly and see clearly the different levels. But when you live in a multicultural
Right, right,
community, like a New
right.
York City,
Like in New York, yes.
okay, then it's like taking a fish out of an aquarium and throwing it into the ocean.
Mm.
And you might have been a big fish in the aquarium.
Hmm.
But
When you
when
get into the ocean.
you're a bait.
Fight for your life.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm
So,
just
so I would mention to you, and that's one of my passion too. And I had a research to do, and I did it basically on success strategies of Caribbean American leaders in the United States, because I was seeing people migrating, and they were out of their depths. So
uh-huh.
they're coming from the Caribbean, and they were out of the English speaking, non-English speaking Caribbean. They're coming in and they were out of their depths. When they reach here, the roads are bigger, all of those things happen. So I
Mhm.
spent years researching those the transitions that they go through. And then that's how I ended up with my book on it, to share with them how to be successful, right?
Mhm.
And I spoke with leaders of head of organizations, so at least they could also share with me, right? How did they do it, right? How did a Colin Powell, for example, come from a Caribbean island, experience come from a parallel islands, and then he was born here in the United States, but then at the end of it, he got to that level of leadership
Yes.
that he got. It's the same situation.
Mhm.
What is the difference? Is there a difference? And that's what I research, and that's where my passion comes to help um, Caribbean nationals and leaders in general to develop and to get to that point where, hey, this is where I need to improve on if I want to go here or there. It doesn't matter where. Even if you're dating, there's also a way to
Oh,
present yourself,
oh
right?
yes.
Yes, there are all to-dos everywhere.
I've been had teenage daughters in my environment. You know that there's a big difference when they're going out on a date, how much time they spend in the bathroom, how many times they actually put on the lipstick and take it off.
You know all of that. Sometimes you don't look, and they're locked in the bathroom for
Well,
hours.
when you see five different colors on the counter, you
Oh,
figure that they're
that's what.
you figure that they're
Well,
visiting.
if I decided to wear this color, this dress, then this color will pop. If I decide to wear that pants, then that color would be more matching. So that's it. But I
Yes.
wanted to share with you the different coaching that if you don't mind, is that okay?
God, please,
The
please.
different, yeah, the different types of coaching that I do. So
Uh-huh.
I work with people who are going through a transition phase, right? They're
Uh-huh.
going through like career change. So they're seeing a job and they want to go after it, or they want to move out from transition from one job to the next. So I work with people going through those transitions as well. And you have some who having leadership struggles. We spoke a little bit about that. Leadership struggles, meaning that they want to hide. We spoke about it. They don't want people to know that they're not feeling competent, and it comes with a lack of confidence and all of that because they maybe made mistakes or they were promoted before time and things like that. Then you also have those who are balance issues, right? They struggle to have that work-life balance. Personal commitments are there. They might be having issues at home. They might have just had a child and they don't want to work anymore. You know, that happens. And
That's true.
then on the other hand, they may have had a child and the child is 3, 4 years old and they want to go back to work.
Mhm.
So how do they transition back to work? And do they want to go back to work in that same capacity that they were in, or they do want to change to do something else, whether they want to become an entrepreneur, are they ready? Right? I also work with individuals who feel stuck, right? They feel stuck. They're not sure where to go. Every day you get up doing this or that. And I really want to move, but that procrastination comes into play and they feel stuck. So those are some of the areas that I work with. And of course, people come with all kind of other stuff. And I'm able to work with them to put them on the right track. But garbage in, garbage out. So if they're not listening and working on it, then they're not going to be helped. So they have to take charge of their own self. Their emotional intelligence is very important there.
Well, they're used to that because I've always talked about the fact that when all babies are beautiful. Oh my goodness. You just have to look into their eyes because that's all you see.
Right,
All
right.
babies are beautiful. And I like to point to the fact that they're born innocent, all clean as a whistle.
Mm.
And how is it by the time they're 15 years old, you're blaming them for everything?
Oh gosh,
Once
yes,
they're 15 and they become teenagers, you're
yeah,
blaming them for everything that they do. How did that get inside
right.
them?
And then
How
it
did
comes back to the culture again,
Yes,
because you go to school and you adopt the not the best practices, but the worst practices, or what they might perceive as the best practices, it's not, right?
yes,
So
yes.
that happens too.
So that is why we have our multiverse cultural culture,
Right,
you
right,
know.
right, right.
And again, that is why I said it is so important for our people to understand that even in this evolution that we go through, understanding and recognizing the challenges
Mm-hmm,
that evolve,
mm-hmm.
okay? Because some of those challenges we never had them 30 years ago,
Right,
okay?
right, 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 right. The
They're brand new
evolution.
challenges,
Yes, yes,
okay?
yes, yes.
And now we have persons like you who are equipped to
Mm-hmm,
help them deal with those
mm-hmm,
challenges,
mm-hmm.
okay?
Yes,
Because, and if they recognize that and are able to utilize those services, then we're going to have a calmer
right, right, right,
community,
right, right,
okay?
right, right, right.
Because I
And
remember,
they're I believe a firm believer in what you call the continuing education. You keep updating yourself. There's a difference between the continuing education as you would look at it, or you're going to search on YouTube for some information. So you're not getting the full picture. So
right.
you become an entrepreneur, but you don't understand business, right? So you become a rapper, become a singer, and you don't understand business. So you have the person who understands business sometimes take advantage of you. So it is a whole package that comes together that not looks that does not look at the skill only and but also look at the business aspect of what they're doing.
I am glad you brought the business to the platform because we
Mhm.
have always, within our community, been conscious of the fact that 6 out of 10 of every Jamaican restaurant, for example, that opens up in 2 years, they close. Okay? Because um, of a lack of adjustment,
Right,
okay, to
right.
what the business requires of them. So you will come and you say, do you have any fish? Fish done. Okay. Do you do you have any soup? Soup finish. Okay. Okay. So what do you have? We have oxtail. Oh, I don't eat meat. Sorry. You know, and in the barber shop, you have people complaining about a barber shop. A hairdressing parlor. They complain
Mm,
about a hairdressing parlor. I do not go back there because they don't know to talk to people.
mm,
They do,
mm.
because they have not adjusted themselves to be a service platform.
Right, 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 right,
Okay?
right,
Let's say is my business. I own the business. Therefore, nobody can tell me how to.
right, right,
As a
right,
matter of fact, when it comes to rearing children, that is the
right.
most common thing you hear. When you
Mm,
see a child is not behaving themselves in public, and you so much as look at the parent and say, could you keep a child? Nobody gonna tell me how to raise my picnic. How much
right,
time do we hear
right,
that?
right, right,
Okay.
right,
Again,
right,
they don't understand that they themselves are in a position where they need advice
right,
or they
right.
need counseling.
Right, right. So
Okay.
the other part of it is that it's not all that bad because nowadays it's again the education for like the hairdressers. They have symposiums now. They have seminars. They have different platforms that teach them about service, not only to the skill that they have to do the hair, but
Mhm.
also the service, packaging everything, why people won't come back, or why people come back in spite of your bad service. They come back because you have that skill, but they
Yes.
hate coming because they have to
Mhm.
suffer through 2 hours of being there, 2 hours of being late, 2 hours of
Mhm.
different things. But there are symposium and places that they have that the salons, the hairdressers are now able to go learn the craft, but they also have coaching and those skills that those people that are there to teach them the softer skills, as
Mhm.
Maxine Barnett would suggest, but the softer skills.
I remember when I was growing up, pretty young, and I used to go to church. And there are certain preachers I never like,
You going there? No.
because we get to church at 8 o'clock. And everybody know that when you go to school, 12 o'clock, you have lunch, right?
Right.
It's procedure.
I know where you're going.
12
Oh, God.
o'clock, 12 o'clock, church supposed to be finished. 1 o'clock, he's still preaching. We are hungry. You know, my mom is sneaking a piece of toto to give me so that
Oh, God. But
my mama
thank
preaching
God,
in.
thank God it's not really like that all the time now anymore, because you might have the church starting at 11 and finish like
Yes,
1:30.
yes, we know
You
what
know,
one
so
and a half
it's
hour
not
mass.
surprised, it's not like the whole day. But if you go in Sunday school and right through, then you know that you walk with a little thing. Those are some things that you can do. Walk with your candy. And the water bottle, so at least you can sip something in the meantime while you're in church and
Yeah,
the
you
pastor
know.
preaching.
So I'm just saying, that there's so many things sometimes that disrupts the
Right,
harmony of someone.
right, right,
Okay.
right,
And in the long run, they do not get the full benefit of a service, whether it be a
right,
barber shop or a hairdressing parlor or
right.
someone, for example, I'm so happy that smoking has been outlawed indoors.
Mm, mm.
Because before you be in a restaurant and 2 tables next
Right, right,
from someone is going
right,
through cigarettes like they're
right,
going through a
right.
snack.
Right, right. So
Okay.
sometimes, so now it is good that you have regulations that have come into play now, and that they regulate and people have to comply, or they're not going to get certain benefits from the government or wherever. So they
Yes.
have to
Or
comply.
your license.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
They won't be really licensed if you don't have that. So I mean, you had touched on a lot of stuff, especially you spoke about the drivers, like the mechanic when he fix your
Mm-hmm.
car, and the coaching. The coaching part of the mechanic would be, if you go back to that one, it's a simple technical skill, but
Mm-hmm.
then the mechanic also possess some coaching skills where he's gonna say, hey, if you do this, then that's the result you're gonna get. That's the X result. Do Y, X result. right? So they also do a little bit of coaching, but it takes time. It's not all of them are gonna, and if you're rude, sometimes they won't bother to tell you
Yeah,
anything. They just make it
because
happen. So you kind of come back to them again and they make more money.
when the mechanic asks you when last you change your engine oil, and you say engine oil.
What's that? Well, now with the electronic cars, well, the cars now, they electronically tell you that engine
Yes,
light comes on, that, hey, it's time.
yes, because that make it that adjustment
Right,
just
right,
to
right, right,
educate you because you're
right,
moving in that direction.
right,
But
right,
and
right,
so in comparison now to some of the other things we talk about, we don't have that electronic warning,
right, right,
okay?
right,
To advise you that listen, you need to change the way you talk to your child. Your child is not 5 years old anymore. The child is 14.
right, right, right,
Okay. And the parent have to make an adjustment and start showing the child more independence. The child says, you know, I'm gonna go to play with my friend. Is not 5 years old. You know, you cannot go outside. But 14-year-old mommy, I'll be back in 2 hours. And you just, you know, you make that adjustment. Okay. Because there's still some places where that adjustment is not being made.
right,
And it
right,
breeds a
right,
different level of mindset
right,
into our
right,
community.
right, right,
Okay. And
right,
before you know it, I said, where is your child? The child run away. What? But the child is 14. Yes, the
right,
child run away. Why?
right, right,
Because the father said, I don't want to see outside after dark.
right.
I have a flashlight. Okay.
But thank God for the community that you might have the church and they have leaders who will guide them in the right way. In some cases with that, they have the sports, basketball or soccer, whatever it is that they
Yes.
have, and those coaches, as we know, coaches are not only leadership like but they have the athletics and all of that. So those persons also inculcate certain values in them. So those kids are able to get something. Sometimes they get what they're not getting at home, they get it from the external community. Thank God for those things
And, and,
happen.
and thank God for people like you now, because when I was for 21, 22, going, you know, getting my first job, there was nothing like coaching for
Right,
available.
right, right,
So
right,
the adjustment has been made to benefit
right,
us and our people as we move
right,
forward.
right,
And they must understand that we
right,
have people now like you, professionally trained to help them move ahead so the failure rates will be reduced.
right, right.
More people will succeed. That is what they have to understand.
Mm-hmm,
Okay? That
mm-hmm.
things have changed and it has changed for the better.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay?
yes, yes.
For the better.
Right, right. Things have
Well,
changed.
let me say thank you so much for spending this first hour.
It's my pleasure.
And again, to our viewers, my guest today is Dr. Shelley Cameron, superstar coach
Oh,
extraordinary in our Caribbean community. And I'm going to invite you whenever you have an opportunity and a need for a guest speaker at your organizations or at your events where you think that good advice is something you would like to bring to the table. Good advice, not just entertainment, but
right.
edutainment.
Yes,
Please
entertainment.
give Dr. Shelley Cameron a call. On this platform, we will post or email contact information. So while you're watching this video, you will see the email contact information for Dr. Shelley Cameron. Please share with your friends that we do have services now that we never had 20, 30 years ago, available to help us all. Because when you get help, it helps us all. It makes it easier for all of us to live together. So I would like to thank you, Dr. Shelley Cameron, from being our guest on the SosoBone Media Network. And I'm looking forward to you coming back when we will be doing group sessions where people
Um,
can Zoom in, join us on our Zoom platform, and are able to share some concerns or ask some questions relative to their particular situation. Again, I say thank you so much. You have been an excellent guest.
Thank you so much as well. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.